Hi, and welcome to another Project Life process video. No introduction or splash screens for today's video because it's going to be a long one. So settle in, make yourself a cup of coffee and have a seat, or hop on the treadmill, or do whatever you do when you're watching these process videos. I'm starting by having a look through the Kelly Perky kit. This is the September kit, and it just arrived not too long ago. It gets mailed out, I think each kit is mailed out at the end of each month, with the idea that, most people are a little bit behind in their pocket scrapbooking. So anyhow, I just had a look at all of the parts, and then I think I cut out part of this because it was kind of boring, just me setting everything out. And I'm starting here doing things a completely different way than I usually do for Project Life. I just thought maybe I could just come down and wing it and just make a couple of cards instead of doing a whole week's worth. And then when I go to do my week, I'll have a couple cards already done. This process does not work at all for me. You will see that I'm stumped. I really only get one card done because I just can't think straight. Everything is in disarray, and I don't know what else. I don't know what is maybe the same thing that's stopping me from talking smoothly right now is the same thing that was stopping me from scrapbooking smoothly last night, because I don't know why I couldn't just make some cards. I just struggled with it. So I want the Walking Dead splash screen here to be, this is just an image I took of my photo of my TV. And I want it to be on this card, but I don't want the letters from the word September to stick out. So I grabbed one little square from the Turn the Page little 2x2 pads that came in the Hip Kit Club Project Life kit. And I just kind of cut it in half, and you see how I used it to just cover up the letters in the word September, and also just kind of emphasizes the horizontal lines that were already on that card, and also the horizontal line of the title on the card as well. And so you see me just sitting here not doing much. That's me not knowing what on earth I'm going to do. I'm thinking about doing some journaling right there where I pointed, maybe turning it, but I don't like to turn it. I don't like to have text going in two different directions on my cards. I'm looking at some of the other embellishments that came in the Hip Kit. So I'm using a combination of mostly the Kelly Perky kit here from September, but I'm also using the Hip Kit from September as well. That's the Hip Kit Project Life kit. Now, I pulled out some of my stamps. I've greatly reduced my stamps. This bin used to be filled to overflowing with Scraptastic Kit Club stamps, and I only kept my favorites. So this is one of my favorites. I have this TV-related stamp, and I also have the Sweet Stamp Shop TV set. It's actually a planner set there. And I thought I might use that too because this is a card about TV. But I really love this Meet Me on the Couch, and then this really adorable couch stamp that was designed by Caitlin Schaefer. And so I'm just thinking, where on earth am I going to put this? It doesn't seem to fit anywhere on this card. And so I actually went away and went to bed, and now this morning. And I'm going to do a little bit more scrapping in this style of let's just make some random cards. And then I'm going to realize that I hate doing it this way. So I'm going to go ahead and properly print all of my photos for the whole week and do it the way that I normally do it. So I'm stamping the Meet Me on the Couch and then the couch on a glassine bag. That's the glassine bag that the Kelly Perky kit came in. I thought I might as well use it instead of digging in my stash for some vellum since it was on my desk. And I'm just trimming it down so that it can go on as kind of like a band across the bottom of the photo. And you'll be able to see through it, but I did leave the two layers of the bag so that you can see through it, but it's not too distracting. I want you to be able to see that cute little couch and not have it blend in too much with the background. I did want to trim it down a little bit more so that you could see the green text that says the date that the series starts. But not the text below it that says the station that it's on, because we don't watch it on the station. We buy it on iTunes. And so I had to reload my Stampin' Up! Stapler. And I normally would be using my tiny attacher, but it is broken, so I've switched over to my Stampin' Up! Mini stapler. And putting those stamps back in that Scraptastic stamp set. And I like how that looks. And now I've decided enough of this. I went ahead and I printed up all of the photos that I want to scrapbook on this spread. So this is about a week or maybe a week and a half or so worth of photos. And I print most of my square photos are printed at 2x2. I already had some of them printed at 2x2. And then my vertical rectangular pictures, I usually print at 3x4 or just a little bit under 3x4. I print them at 2.8 by 3.8, which ends up coming out as 3x4 once it's printed. For some reason, my printer doesn't print exactly perfectly. So for the instance, this vertical picture here is printed at 2.8 by 3.8. And so is this one. And then any rectangular photos that are horizontal, I will print either at 2x3 if I want them to fit on a 3x4 card, or I will print them at 4x6 if the quality of the photo is good enough and I want it to be a full pocket. So there I just took the recipe card from my HelloFresh. HelloFresh and cooking is going to feature prominently in this spread, which is very different from me, very different for me, pardon me. And so I really like that all of my project life up until now, cooking really hasn't featured prominently, and then my hope is that from this point forward there will be much more food and cooking in my project life, because I'm trying to make an effort to really focus on increasing my cooking skills. So I cut out part of a pamphlet there that I wanted to save and put in an insert, and I just cut that recipe card down to a 4x6 so that I can put it in my project life. And now here I'm back to my normal process. Oh, this feels so good. Oh, I can't even tell you how nice it feels to do this, or how nice it felt to do this when I was doing it. So all of those cards that I had already decided upon when I had just a little subsample of photos, I just left them as they were. So the Walking Dead card is already done, and then some of the other ones already had some cards picked out for them. But now I'm just spreading the photos that I have. There's my insert. I'm spreading those photos around the page so that they will, be spread around and even and so on. So now I have this little box of embellishments that my friend Christine gave me. And she gave me this whole little package of tiny little embellishments. And I just keep them on my desk and I dip into them every once in a while. So I'm just auditioning a couple of different options there. I like the frame better than the heart. And I love that the box that it comes in looks just like a scrapbooking kit club box, because it's kind of like a tiny version of scrapbooking supplies. I have those 2 punches that I just got from Stampin' Up. I ordered them from my Stampin' Up demonstrator, Evelyn Wood. And I'm hoping to use one or both of those today. And then I'm also looking through my stamp sets here, and what I'm doing here is I'm actually pulling out any stamps that I think I might use on this spread. So I'm just looking at all of the stamps that I have in my favorite, like I've just separated out my favorite stamps. And I'm looking through them, and at this point I know what stories I want to tell because I've been cutting and printing those photos and arranging them on the page. And so I'm just looking for any phrases or images that might go with that. With those stories. So I have that Happy Mail and then Special Delivery. I don't know which of those I'll use on that card, but I'm just putting them up there. And then I decided I'll stick them on this large block, and that way they won't get lost. I don't want to lose them. I'm just pulling out other stamp sets as well. I have the Kelly Perky stamp set that came in this kit as well. I pre-wrote all of my journaling, which I don't always do, but I just thought I would this time so that I can just scrap and not have to think about what I'm going to compose for the journaling. So now I'm just looking through these Kelly Perky cards, and I am trying to spread the color around on the page. And I'm keeping in mind that I want journaling to go with certain cards. So the stairs have a journaling story to go with them, and the picture with the Girl Guide logo and all the text on it, that has a story to go with it as well, like a fairly long story. And so I'm trying to keep some cards with lines on them beside those pictures so that I can tell the story beside the photo. And so I kind of like how this looks. I'm thinking I'd really like to use this filler card with the text on it. I can't remember what it says because I've put it away. But anyhow, I'm going to just kind of play around with that idea. I'm thinking actually that I've got so much, there we go, that this is right where I want to be. So I figured that I actually have so much journaling to put in that Girl Guide story that I'm going to use a flip pocket so that I can document a full journaling story on two sides of a card and still be able to put my photo in there. And you'll see what I mean at the end. So this is the spread as I have it composed at this point, or designed, I guess, at this point. And these are those photo flip pockets from Snap, from Simple Stories, and I have a couple of those left. I'm running low on them. I'll have to order some more, but they are 3x4 little pockets that you can attach to the outside of your pocket page, and it allows you to add these flaps that can flip up. And then you can see both sides of the card that's showing, and then also there's another card underneath that you can see one side of. So let's get started. I have my templates, which I just made onto craft cardstock several years ago, over to the left, and they have everything all planned out. And then I just take one card and bring it over and design it until it's done, and then I plop it right back onto the template where it belongs, and then I move on to the next card, and that is my process. And that I love that process. I didn't realize how much I loved it until I tried to not do it last night, and I realized I felt so forlorn. So I'm trying here to that looks awful. So I just thought I'd try just to see. I thought that wasn't going to look good. It might have looked better if I stamped it in white, but I wasn't sure if I could find white ink at this point. So I decided to stamp it in black, but it looks horrible, but that's okay. I will use the glassine bag method here, which was stamped on StazOn ink with StazOn ink. And I just love that little stamp. It has these little stitch marks on the side of it. I love that stamp so much. And so I'm going to grab my sewing machine and actually add some actual thread because there are stitch marks on it. That Casetify black rectangle that you see up there is just a piece of foam. It came in a cell phone case that I bought a couple of years ago, and it's that nice dense foam that is perfect for stamping on. So I just keep it here on my desk, and when I'm using small stamps, I can just reach for it pretty easily. It's great for stamping on small stamps, and that just gives you a slightly soft but firm, like almost like a slightly bouncy surface upon which to stamp, and that just helps you get a nice smooth stamp. So that was my little sewing machine and my little half-size sewing machine, which is perfect for Project Life because it takes up so little space on your desk when you've got. I find Project Life is something that supplies tend to really crowd me in as I'm working, so I like having the small sewing machine for that. I don't typically sew too much on my Project Life because it's a bit of a hassle, and I like Project Life to be super easy. I'm looking for a sticker now to put in the right side where the blank on the left side where the blank space is. The journaling, by the way, says the south end looks so pretty from the roof of the IWK Parkade. And I just went into my stash because I couldn't find a sticker in the Hip Kit Project Life kit that would work, and so I just went into my stash, and this is another sticker set from a recent Hip Kit Club kit. I don't know which one, but I thought that the typewriter really fit nicely there. It says "This is Life," and it's the right color. It's like that peachy pink color. So I don't love this, but whatever, it's already done, so that's fine. This says, I just have to find it for you. I wrote on the picture there, waiting for my consult, but you can't really read it all that well because there's some weird black lines in the photo from the chairs that were across from me. But this says, the elderly lady beside me leans over and says, "They're on number 74. You must be next." "Yes, I'm 75, I said. "You don't look a day over 25, my dear," she says. It was a bit longer of a story than that, but I just wanted it to be pretty brief for Project Life. She's like this cute old lady who was talking to me the whole time I was waiting for my number to be picked, and I was actually sitting in a place where I didn't need to be sitting. I didn't need to wait, so anyhow, I waited anyways. Now, my journaling here says, and this is the journaling that's going to go with the stairs. So it says, the intervention from this consult resulted in me being allowed to resume a regular lifestyle after 6 months of restrictions. Never have I been so happy, in brackets, or winded, to run up 7 flights of stairs. And so, I had to stop exercising 6 months ago when I had some medical problems that are just like gross and yucky, and I don't want to talk about them, but nothing really, really severe or anything. But I had to stop exercising, and I've gained weight, and I haven't been able to kind of, I don't know, I could walk, but I have a hard time walking when I used to run and do like higher impact things. It feels, I'm not going to say like a waste of time, but sometimes it does feel that way, even though I know that it's absolutely not a waste of time. Anyhow, I was just really, really happy to be able to run up these stairs. These are the stairs at the hospital parkade. I parked on the 7th floor, which is the roof of the parkade. And so I ran. I could have taken the elevator, but I decided to run up the stairs because this is like the first time that I can run. And yeah, it's the first time I've run in 6 months, and up the stairs at that. And by about the 5th floor, I was like, at the bottom, I was like, oh, I can run up the stairs. And then at about the 5th floor, I was like, I can't run up the stairs. So yeah, I was huffing and puffing, but I did make it. I kept going up the stairs. I just didn't exactly run as much as, pull myself up to the 7th floor. I wish I hadn't put these so much on the outside, like skip and the. There's too big of a space between them there. I wish I had made skip and the a little bit closer together, but I didn't realize that I'd have so much space to put them. So I am using Memento Tuxedo Black ink here, and these are Mama Elephant letter stickers, not letter stickers, letter stamps. I love these letter stamps. And so I am going to put the word elevator here. And I really love that the stamp, like the centers of all the letters, are filled in on this stamp set. That's my favorite part of it. It has a real kind of homemade art journal-y kind of look to it. So I love using these for hand-stamped titles and journaling in my art journal usually, but it's nice to use it for Project Life too. So I did have to scooch the letters together, and I made a mistake. I thought that the A was in the center of the word, so I ended up with lots of space on the other side of the R as well. I try to not be too obsessive or careful with my lining up of titles and stuff on Project Life, because my purpose of Project Life is to just document a whole lot of things quickly. And so I feel like if I spend too much time making it perfect, it's just going to make me get frustrated and abandon this project. So I do whatever I can to make it a process that I like, as opposed to a process that gives me exactly the perfect final product. The other thing about Project Life is that because there's so much going on a Project Life page, like there's all those pockets, if you make mistakes and things aren't perfect, you really don't pick up on it, because even a very simple Project Life spread, for me anyways, tends to be quite busy, and like there's a bit of messiness on the T there. I don't know how I got extra ink on the photo, but it really doesn't matter. You can't see it in the end. I just added a little heart stamp from that font. I noticed it had little hearts on it, and I was going to use it, but I forgot, so I had to go get it and take it out again. So I just stamped, as you can see, skip the elevator when you can, because I could for the first time. Yay! So now I really want to do something cool with this 4x6 that I made out of the recipe card. And I'm not going to like this. As soon as I do it, I'm going to be like, oh no, I don't like that at all. I just don't like it. And then it didn't stamp properly, and I tried to double stamp it, and then it's got this ghost on it, and blech. Blech. So then I thought, at that point, the card is ruined, so I'm just going to use it as an experiment it's not really ruined, but I've decided already, because I get 2 of those boxes, because the veggie box is only for 2. So I had 2 of the recipe cards, because one came in each box. So I decided to experiment with a couple of other things here. I have my Lawn Fawn white ink, which I love, but does not stick to this because I knew that it was slippery. That's why I use Stays On for homemade, but I thought I guess maybe I forgot or something, and I tried the Lawn Fawn white ink, but it kind of pooled up and it will not stick. It won't dry on it. So then I thought, oh, let's try Stays On, and my Stays On ink I don't love Stays On ink, white ink, to be honest with you. It's messy, and I can never really get it in the pad properly. Maybe I'm just not patient enough. I used to be able to use it, but I can't anymore. I'm not patient enough anymore for that kind of stuff. So I've decided I'm going to use the Freckled Fawn white ink, which I love, and I'm just stamping it onto a piece of vellum. Now, it will stick to vellum, but it will take a really long time to dry. So you have to be careful to not touch it while you're waiting. So now I'm taking that second recipe card. I'm going to do the exact same thing, cut it down to the exact same 3x4. Only now I'm not going to ruin it by adding homemade. And this little stamp, I love this stamp. It's so relevant. It's not meant to talk about food, but it says, everything I need is right here. And it's so relevant because these boxes have everything that you need to make 3 meals. All inside. All that you need from your own kitchen is salt, pepper, and oil, and sometimes sugar. That is it. So I'm thinking I might want to use that new circle tab punch from Stampin' Up, and it has a stamp set that goes with it that I bought as well. And I wanted to put homemade, but it's not going to fit on the circle tab punch. And then I thought maybe I could stamp homemade onto one of these labels, and I almost did that. And then I thought, wait a second, I really want to put it on a tab, and I know I have a tab die. So I grabbed this. This is actually an old MFT die. And I grabbed it out of my little folder of small dies. And this is a piece of old olive paper from Stampin' Up. It looks more like it looks more green than it actually is. No, yeah, it's the right color. Yeah, it looks the right color. And so at least on my screen, it looks the right color. And so I used the white ink again to stamp homemade. I just wanted to see how it would look on that paper. So I just stamped it on the scrap paper first. And now that tab is much, much bigger than I need it to be. So I just cut it in half and layer it like that so that and again, with Project Life, you don't notice those sorts of little details. And to hide it even more, I'm going to staple right over that seam so that you really can't quite tell that it was cut and reshaped there, or resized, I guess. I love how my picture of the linguine looks just like the picture. Isn't that awesome? I totally can't cook. So when I saw it in the pot and it looked so much like it was supposed to look, I took a picture for sure, and I said, I have to scrapbook this. So I'm taking the Kelly Perky letter stickers that come in the kit, and I'm spelling out just like the picture, because I'm quite proud of this dish, even though it wasn't, it's homemade. I'm using the air quotes when I say homemade. It's homemade. I should get credit for it. It's homemade. The onions were already chopped, and a couple of other things were already done, but Yeah, I made it. The app makes it so easy. It tells you, I think I'm going to review it actually. I think I'm going to do like a video review of the HelloFresh box, even though it's not scrapbooking related, because so many people have asked me about it and I am so impressed with the app. It works so amazingly well. So my journaling says, holy crap, did I make that? The app made sure everything was ready to assemble at the right time. It's all timed out perfectly so that it tells you like start boiling your water now, and while that's doing it, while that's coming to a boil, chop this, and then you chop that and the water's boiling, and then the next instruction is put the linguine into the pot of boiling water. Like everything is timed perfectly. I love it. Because that's what I hate about cooking. I find it overwhelming when you're like trying to time everything out. That's the worst thing about cooking for me. So I'm thinking about adding something from some of the documentation that came with the HelloFresh box. Sorry, I didn't zoom out there, but I was looking at various logos and phrases that were written on the documentation, and then I found this HelloFresh, and I just decided to cut it into a banner and put it right here. And I have that stamp that says Happy Mail, so I'm going to stamp that as well. And I was about to reach for my black ink, and then I realized, wait a minute, I have all these beautiful colors of ink over on my Stampin' Up! Color Caddy. So I went and got Crisp Cantaloupe, which is a soft peachy color that is elsewhere in the kit. So I'm going to adhere these photos. I thought about putting them right against each other like this, but I'm going to spread them out just a little bit. There you go. And that card is done. For now, I could go back and embellish later, but I try to, just get things documented first, and then I'll go back and add any embellishments. But this time, my embellishing was quite minimal. So I hand cut that little label, and then here's a little tip for cutting out these labels with the little half circles missing out of the quarter circles missing out of the corners, is to just take a regular office hole punch and punch out those little quarter circles. It works really well. And now this one doesn't have the half circles, it just has diagonal lines, so that's easy enough to do just with my own scissors. And I was just going to put one label, but the one was too light, and so I wanted the dark blue one to pair with it. So I'm actually going to overlap those, but not like that. I'm actually going to stick the dark one under the light one, just like that. So I had to pull off the light one there, and then I'll layer them like that and place them on Elizabeth's sweater. I'm actually going to place them in a little bit further than I had planned when there was just one of them, just so I don't cover up too much of Elizabeth. And I didn't want her arm to look like it was, like her left arm to look like it was sticking out of nowhere, so I just backed off my labels a little bit to show more of that arm. Okay, so now I am done the second page, and I always do it this way. I always scrap the second page of my Project Life spread before my first page, just because that's the way I lay out my templates. So I just switch them around so that the second page is over on, basically so that the right page is over on the left now, so that I can more easily reach the other page, which is the first page. Huh, complicated, huh? So now I'm going to do this Girl Guide story, and that text above the Girl Guide symbol there is the speech that my youngest daughter wrote out when she basically ran for first patrol. She had to do a speech. Well, she actually ran for second patrol, but she somehow got elected to first patrol, so which is a good thing, but it created a little bit of stress. So I'm going to use these stickers that came in the HIP kit, Project Life kit for September. And I'm spelling out patrol first. And yeah, I didn't know how I was going to do it, but I really wanted them to be on the same line if at all possible. I obviously didn't space out patrol properly. So I'm going to scooch them together and just leave it. It doesn't matter. So now I am writing out in my little fancy handwriting, which is not all that fancy, but this is my version of fancy. The story of Patrol First. And now I want to put a little design. I know that I have a long story to tell, but I also know that I have two sides of this journaling card to tell it. So I'm going to put some stickers around here so that I can, have some embellishments to work around. So the story goes like this. Sophie was excited and then stressed to learn she had been elected Patrol First of her guide unit. She worked hard on the election speech, but was campaigning for Patrol Second, which involves less time in the spotlight. So there, magically, I'm finished that now, and I just have to make sure that when I write on the back side of that I write on it upside down as opposed to flipping it over from left to right. So I'm having a look at these stickers that I used on the front of the card to see if I can use any of them for the back of the card. And this one says, just go for it, which I thought was relevant. I'm just going to outline it so that it has a little bit more emphasis. And then I'll continue my journaling over here. It says, part of her was proud the other girls thought of her as a leader, but the shy part of her worried if she could do it. She was also worried about a good friend who wanted Patrol First, but got Patrol Second. Sophie didn't want her to be mad at her or upset she didn't get the role she wanted. She's working through these feelings and more proud than worried these days. I actually forgot the N in the word than. More proud than worried these days, it says. But yeah, I guess I'll go back and fix that. She's working through these feelings and is more proud than worried these days. All right, so there's how the flip will work, and I'm not going to embellish that piece that's underneath because Sophie already embellished it. I wanted to keep it the way that Sophie made it. So this is this card that says this is right where I want to be. I love this. I love how all over to one side it is. And so I took that scrap of old olive paper from my stash. You know what? That might not be old olive. It looks brighter than that. It might be like gumball green or something. Anyhow, it is that color, like the color that you see it is the accurate color, but yeah, I don't think it's old olive. So I thought that I would, so I punched that circle tab from Stampin' Up out of the green paper, and then I want to put a coordinating circle on it, and I'm going to use a punch. And at first I was going to stamp a little scalloped circle in black, and then put I'm using Calypso Coral now for the sun because it shows up really nicely on that coral color of cut aparts. And then I just thought it looked too high contrast like that, so I decided to make the circle and the sun both out of Calypso Coral, so there will be no black at all on this card. Now, this punch I think is going to work, but I haven't used it before on this stamp set or on this punch, so I had to check it first. And then I just had to, did you see that move? I just had to check it to make sure that it worked well with the punch. And then I put the actual one on the punch just with my Stampin' Up adhesive. And I really love that card. That is probably one of my favorite filler cards I've ever made. That circle punch is one of my new favorite things. I adore that punch. It's so cute, and I think I'm going to get a lot of use out of it in Project Life. So I grabbed my food stamps. I have two different food stamp sets here, one from Studio Calico and one from Kelly Perky. And I'm using the Kelly Perky ones. It says, I ate this. And I think the stamp set is called Bon Appetit. I don't think you can still get it. It was available at Simon Says Stamp. Maybe you can still get it. I don't know. And so I'm just placing this, and this is a photo that I made using Snapseed, which is an app that I love and I use a lot. I think I have a video on my channel that talks about how to use Snapseed. And And so now here's this next card. This is one of the originals from back when I was scrapping without a plan. It says this place, and I just documented underneath early morning food prep for Scott's yummy curry dish. And then I added staples on the top of the this and the place just to make them look like they're stapled on there, even though they are just printed on. So now I want to put a generic date stamp under the frame here that I picked out from Christine. And I'm going to use those blue cut-aparts. Those cut-aparts are orange on one side and blue on the other side. And I basically just want the blue for just a swatch of paper, just the same way that I did with the circle stamps. I just wanted a swatch of orange paper. So I'm not really using them for their intended purpose, but I like it. I just wanted to bring a little bit of subtle different color into this filler card. And I just put -- October because I didn't want a specific date. I just wanted to say this page is all about October. And I used my Stampin' Up! Glue pen, which has a glossy accents-ish type of liquidy adhesive inside of it. And it wasn't sticking very well at all. I think what was happening was the glue was soaking into the wood veneer instead of staying between the wood veneer and the paper. I think that because when I went to put the Tombow Mono Multi, it stayed on the surface of the wood veneer, and so it worked much better on the second application. And then I just am using my stapler to hold it down because the wood veneer was a little bit warped, and I wanted to make sure that it stuck. So again, I'm just using my office hole punch to punch out these little corner nicks out of the label. And this is a picture of my daughter Sophie working on a school project in my scrap room. She needed to use some letter stickers, and so she was using the thicker alignment tool and my trimmer and my markers. It says here, where is it? It says, Sophie worked so hard on her book cover project. I love having her in my craft room. And I'm just messy outlining around the photo and around the label. And oops, the photo popped off. Those pumpkin spice Cheerios are yummy, yummy, yummy. I love them. Have you guys tried them yet? They're very, very good. So we have more cut apart labels that I'm going to use on this one. This card is one of those cards that I've found these cards really hard to use, the ones that have a little band of white at the bottom of them. I find it particularly hard to use those on a 4x6, but I'm trying to challenge myself to use them anyways. And now here on the 3x4, I'm going to cut out this label, which I stamped with the Kelly Perky Home Sweet Home stamp set that came in the kit. And I used Calypso Coral ink for that to spell out home away from home. And because this picture was taken at Nana and Papa's, and it says Thanksgiving dinner, and then I put a check mark in the box and I put Nana and Papa's. I like how these stamps can do so much of your journaling for you. I don't have to say, we went to Nana and Papa's for Thanksgiving. You can tell it's a turkey dinner, it's October, and it says Nana and Papa's and home away from home. Like, that does all the journaling for me. I don't have to say all those things. So that frees me up for if there was a story I needed to tell, like everybody laughed when the pie got dropped on the floor or whatever the case might be, I could do that. We didn't have any funny stories or anything this year. But I like that about using relevant stamps in your project life. So here I'm using Old Olive ink. This is Old Olive because I know because I got it out of my stash. And I'm just stamping this Studio Calico border stamp at the top of that card because it was looking a little too white as it was at the top. Like, it just didn't look balanced. So I put that striped green top on the card, and I like how it looks a lot better. It looks more balanced. So this card I'm going to just center. I'm going to center the label and the photo right in the center of this 3x4 card. I'm again looking at my Kelly Perky foodie stamps, the Bon Appetit set. And this one says, "Oui, chef." I just thought that was a cute little phrase. And I tried using whatever that one was, and it was too dark. So I went with Pool Party, which is one of my favorite Stampin' Up! Inks. I love Pool Party. So I stamped "Oui Chef" because I wanted to introduce some of the blue that's on the background into the label, which was that olive green from the kit. Love the color scheme of this kit. It's something that I don't get to work with very often, these beautiful greens and oranges. And then the turquoise thrown in there is a really unexpected, nice touch. So now I am just outlining all the way around, just to bring that one together. And now the glue is dry on that, so I'm just moving that over too. I'm almost done. This is a long one, isn't it? But Project Life takes longer, but you capture so much more. I love having all of these stories and little partial stories and memories just all documented. So I used Calypso Coral ink there and stamped "You Are My Home" beside Olivia. She's holding Tim Hortons coffee there. And I just want to put another little detail here. It says, "Nena and Papa's feels like home." And I didn't know where to write it. I was going to write it in the trim around the door, and then I just decided to put it on the side there in tiny little, I used a .005 pen. I'm trying to put away my stamps as I go so that I don't lose anything. And now I have to move it all over so that I can have a look at how my layout looks. Now, it's striking me that all of the darker elements are all over on the right-hand page. So I thought maybe I could move these two over there. But I have to kind of move things around a little bit to get balance because I didn't want two heavy texts to be right beside each other. But there, I think that looks okay. It's not going to stay like that though. I'm going to keep moving a little bit more. There we go. And I think that's it. Nope. There we go. Just that switch right there. There we go. So now I'm just taking a look at the green and how the green is spread around the page. I'm taking a look at the peach and how the peach is spread around the page, looking for those navy blue accents and making sure that they're spread around the page. And just that my stories that go with certain photos are next to the right photos and all of that stuff. And now I'm thinking about adding some embellishments. And here, I wish I hadn't done this, but that blue card that's half navy blue and half a lighter blue with journaling on it, it looks a little plain to me. So I'm looking for some stickers to put on it. I wish I had just left it plain. I like it much more plain than I do when I put this stuff on it. I'm putting better because the story is about how I'm feeling better now. And then I put a Band-Aid underneath of it. I don't know. And then I put "moving on" at the top. It's okay. It's just from a design perspective. It's not my favorite thing, but that's okay. So I sped this part up even more. It is 8 times the speed because it's just me putting the pockets in the pages. But I thought I would include this process just to show you that the Becky Higgins page protectors that I have, some of the pockets are not actually 3x4. So my 3x4 cards don't actually fit in them. So I do have to do a little bit of trimming. Usually 1 or 2 of those 3x4 cards are fine, but the other 2 or 3 are not. And it just needs to be trimmed down. So there we go, putting that one in. I'm trying to show you them as I go, but I kind of didn't do a great job of that. And now I just adhered that flip pocket to the page, like to the pocket above it. So I like how it looks. So now I'm going to show you all of the pockets up close. I know that there's glare because of the page protector, but I just realized that I hadn't actually done a very good job of showing the cards as I scrapbooked it, so I thought I would just give you a chance to see it. And I just left my audiobook just the way it's just a screen cap of my audiobook that I was listening to. It didn't need to be documented or anything. It's clear that I'm listening to that book these days. So now I'm going to show you guys, I just realized that I forgot my insert, so I'm going to make that. There's the insert itself, and I have to go grab my binder of page protectors. There it is. And I'm just going to compare the size of the insert with the pockets that I have. And I'm going to go with a 6 by 12 inch page protector. I love those, and I need to order more of those as well. So I'm just going to trim off the top of it so that it is nice and trim and flips easily. And I decided to put the inside, like the other side, as, you know, just to flip it around. I just like how that looks better. And there we go, all done for another week or two. I have been adoring Project Life Process. I can't even tell you how much I love it. When I got started, I was really starting it for the end product. I thought I really miss having a Project Life to look at. I don't miss doing it, but I miss having it. So I was willing to start doing it again just so I could have the albums. But now that I'm doing it, I can't imagine not doing it. I so love it. I get so absorbed in it, and I lose myself, and I have so much fun. As you can tell, this process video was quite long, and that's just a reflection of how caught up I get in the process. I just keep doing these details, and I just am loving it so much that I don't even rush myself. So I hope that you have enjoyed this process. If you've stayed with me this long, you must be a hardcore Project Lifer. So thanks so much for watching. I will have some links at the end of this video to my channel and other process videos and so on. If you like what you saw in this video, please leave me a thumbs up and leave me a comment. I'd love to hear your thoughts on Project Life, what process works for you, what you thought of these pages. Take care and have a really great scrappy week.